Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's good. Welcome to the PHLY Flyers Pregame Show presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your Director of Fun and Games this morning. Joining me is Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. I guess it's not this morning to most people.
I got up at 5, so it's like evening for me.
I realize I keep different hours.
Don't
than a
ask
lot of
me
people.
why I did that, but here we are.
Not everyone's up TPing their own house at 4 a.m.
When I saw that, I was like, "You are an absolute legend."
We're here for Flyers Bruins. Mischief night. I was just like, Ava has a Quizzo in Haddon Township at the PJs out there, and like to get home from there, we have to drive through like 20 different neighborhoods. Didn't see a roll of toilet paper, a smashed pumpkin, nothing.
Come on, kids.
So I had to take it into my own hands and decided to toilet paper my own house.
I really respect that.
Yeah, it was, and then I waited for Ava to get up because she had to get up at like 6. And I just like waited for her reaction. She was just like, "What's the matter with you?" Anyway, here we are, Flyers pregame for Flyers Bruins this afternoon. A 1 o'clock puck drop between the Fly Guys and the Bees. And Flyers, we get right into it, have made no lineup changes, it appears. Jordan Hall tweeted same lineup. And, Ersson in net for the Flyers. Not a big surprise after, their two most impressive performances of the season. Still waiting on some confirmation on some things from the Bruins end. And no, I don't know who's backing up yet today. Also waiting on that. But Charlie just tweeted, Sam Ersson led them out onto the ice for warm-ups, so he is definitely back in. We'll start with the lineup, Hinks. The offense has still not really been there.
Yeah.
But they are showing signs of at least getting back to the defense that leads the way for them that they can then turn into offense.
And we saw a little bit of stuff starting to come alive last game, like the Brink-Farabee connection seemed to be sparking a little bit last game. So, like, if that can get going, that'll be really good. Michkov seems to have a little bit of yips. That's obviously not going to last forever. So once he gets back going in, and he started to looked better.
There was a little coming around at the end of that game.
End of last game.
Yeah.
So he'll be fine. So it's just, I feel like they're in a little bit of a lull with the guys that they rely on to do the scoring, but it doesn't seem concerning to me really. Especially because, as you said, the defense has looked so much better that it's like, all right. Well.
It has been great. For a little while there, they just did not look like themselves, the Flyers. They were giving up a ton of shots, just so many chances. They never had the puck. And last year, they stopped shots at an incredible rate. Yeah. Like only Carolina gave up fewer shots than the Flyers last year per game. And then suddenly it's like, oh, well, now we're giving up like 30. This isn't a real recipe for success for a team that the Flyers have to also be a volume shooting team because there's no one who's really all that good at putting the puck in the net. They have to get a ton of shots and not give up a bunch. They weren't. And now suddenly we're starting to see, Charlie talked about it on the last post game with, yes, losing Cam York stinks, but you also kind of got Nick Seeler back up to speed at that same time, and you replaced Yegor Zamula with Emil Andre, who just looks like a better player at this point. And the result has been a net positive for the Flyers. Like, it's pretty good, even though you are without maybe your best defenseman.
Nick Seeler specifically came right back into the lineup just mid-season form. Like, I think he blocked 6 shots. He's a madman. Like, he's insane. So that's really good. And this Risto-Sanheim pair has, like, looked so good that I'm like, maybe we don't.
What if there's a world? What if there is a world?
Maybe Risto is a top pair defenseman. Who can say?
Yeah, maybe after all this time,
The Sabres knew.
The Sabres knew.
Us who was dumb.
Chuck Fletcher knew.
Yeah.
Everybody knew all it would take was a couple of years of Brad Shaw.
Right.
No, it's just very funny where we are with this defense. Like, all of a sudden, I like Travis Sanheim. I like Rasmus Ristolainen. Who saw this
What
coming?
a time to be alive.
Yeah. But I do think there are some things that could help this offense. And I was kind of trusting the development path on Emil Andre. Like, they just don't think he's ready. They tried him last year.
Yeah.
They sent him down after 4 games. Took him about a month in the minors to kind of get back, like, okay, I'm here now. I'm not in the NHL, and just kind of deal with that a little bit.
Right.
But then they said by the end of the season, he was clearly their best defenseman going into the playoffs. And now he's up. They didn't really want to play him on that West Coast trip to start the season. He was here, but okay, Eric Johnson's just going to play.
Yeah.
Nick Seeler's out. So be it. He's finally in, and maybe they were just slow playing it with him, but he certainly looks like he belongs right now.
Yeah, for some reason, it's always seemed like Torts isn't the biggest Emil Andre fan, and I think maybe that's why we weren't seeing him, but like, thank you for your service, Igor Zamula, for like forcing their hand. Like, they had to put him in. And now we're seeing that, like, he probably should have gotten the Igor Zamula treatment, which was, we're putting you in because we can't send you down. You're going to have to figure it out. And Zamula last season, for the most part, did seem to figure it out. And I think Emil Andre would have been the same and will probably be the same now if they keep him in. Whatever struggles he's going to have as a result of, not being ready for the NHL, it seems like he's going to figure them out on the fly.
And that's that was the thing, was in the 4 games he played last year. Now this was like, he got thrown into the deep end where the coach said, like, I don't know if he's ready. I just know that we don't have a puck-moving defenseman that I trust, and we don't have someone who can run the power play. Maybe it works. And after 4 games, it was like, yo, he is not ready.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen a case of someone so clearly in over their head. It was just like, yeah, he's not up to speed. He needs to go to the AHL and do this gradually. Mm-hmm. And the stark progression that we've seen in the span of a year, I think speaks really well for Emil Andre, and I'm ready to see some more. I'm sure they'll get Zamula back into the lineup at some point, you would think.
One imagines.
But I really like what I'm seeing out of Andre. I think he can help this offense kind of come along with his ability to break the puck out, get the puck to the forwards a little faster than Zamula was. Mm-hmm. It's only 15, 16 minutes a night right now, but that's almost a third of the game where it's like, oh, we do have somebody who can make this breakout pass.
Someone's got to be on the third pair. Like, someone has to play those minutes. Like, I think you've said it 1,000 times. If he was on the 2010 team, they win the cup.
No, if last year's Zamula is on the 2010 team, like, they have a chance.
Right, exactly. Like, you need to have a functional third pair. Like, they can't be a disaster. We saw what was happening with Zamula and Johnson. When they were the third pair, it was looking real rough out there.
That's where I really have to credit, as much as it pains me sometimes, I really have come a long way on Travis Sanheim. Yeah. But, like, yes, Zamula was absolutely struggling. But you saw him and Risto out there together, and it's not as if it was like, oh, well, Zamula is clearly an ankle weight, like, tied around Rasmus Ristolainen. It was like, no, they both kind of just aren't playing well right now. But then immediately, Risto, okay, here's 10 more minutes a night. Oh. It looks, with tougher matchups. And it looks immediately better. I do have to credit Travis Sanheim. And they are together. Yeah, it looks like the lines Charlie just tweeted out remain the same. Charlie. It's Coots between Konecny and Mish, Frost between Tippett and Forster, Farabee, Lawton, Brink, Cates, Paling, Hathaway on the back end, Sanheim, Risto, Seeler, Drysdale, Andre, and Eric Johnson.
This is perfect. We said before last game,
exactly.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it.
Yeah.
No touching it. You're done. You fixed it. We're good.
Let's talk about that top line, and specifically Matvei Michkov. Now, we got some good news. In his very first month with the Philadelphia Flyers, he is named Rookie of the Month. We already have some hardware on the mantle for Matvei Michkov, but of course it doesn't come without, at least some, I don't even know, like, controversy. I don't think this is considering it's 11 games in and he's the guy that we are all obsessed with. Yeah. And it's like, I'd burn down my house for Matvei Michkov.
100%.
He gets benched for most of the first period. And honestly, deserve it. I didn't think that was great. Like, that was typical coaching, not Tortorella doing
Right.
hey, kid, guess what? You played 36 seconds. You're going to work the door the rest of the game.
Exactly.
Like he's done with some guys. He didn't sit him in his hometown, which is, something probably Torts is never going to be able to do.
Unfortunately. He won't get to play that card.
That's good. I was watching some of that game in, where were they yesterday? Finland. And I was like, well, it's going to be a little while for this world to change before we play a game in Russia. So I don't think Torts is ever going to get that chance. But it was like Charlie talked in postgame because the defensive zone stuff was – I tweeted out like when it happened. We just need more from Michkov there. Yeah. I don't ever expect him to be Mark Stone, but like the turnover is bad. The effort after he turned it over was a joke.
Yeah.
Like it was ugly. And then Charlie kind of said postgame like it wasn't even that. It just seems right now the thing Tortorella is really preaching is his engagement in the offensive zone away from the puck, where he's just kind of, I'm going to go hang out behind the net. I'm going to do my Mish stuff and get it to me. Yeah. And then we'll figure it out from there. It's like, no, you need to do other things than that.
The problem is we need him to be the guy getting it to people.
And and listen, it's all different parts of the game. And Tortorella addressed this after the game. Like, there is just going to be things he needs to be coached on. Sure. He isn't looking great at 5-on-5 right now. Like, that's why he's only got like 1 5-on-5 point. But it's all a learning process. And we talked in the preseason about, okay, after a real tough skate or something, then in the game, he'd look like he didn't really have the legs. And then after a day off, it would be like, oh, he's the best player on the ice again. I don't know if he's ever played 4 and 6. And if he has, not against NHL competition, not against guys who were like, oh, we need to target this kid, make his life really difficult. It's just gonna all be part of it. But to know that, even with if the last 3 games of the month, he doesn't put up points, even getting benched in the last game, he's rookie of the month. He's the best player out there.
I'm sure William Gauthier was close second, right?
We're doing Monday's show, and I want to play because I have a whole thing.
Oh, excellent!
But
no spoilers.
Is that the best play he's ever going to make for the Flyers? For the simple fact that, to me, every single point the Penguins pick up, is an opportunity lost for them to get a superstar in the draft.
That's
because they are bad. And what is going to happen if they're at the top of the lottery?
They're going to
win the lottery. They're going to get James Higgins or whoever. And Gauthier, just little percentage points here and there. So thank you, Cutter. Very much appreciate. If you haven't seen it, and I'm sure you have, everyone was telling us in the last post game, like, Bill, it's going to make your night.
It's real good.
Need to go see what happened. And
I enjoyed it.
I tweeted it out. I quote tweeted it with the worst person you know meme. It was like, Crosby scored and the Penguins won. But actually wins are losses for the Penguins this year. So that's great. But I'm excited to see how Michkov responds now. We talked about through the first 11 games, like, all right, the league adjusts to him, and then he adjusts, and then they adjust. But now this is a different thing, responding to, I don't even know if it's adversity, but his first slump. Like 3-game pointless streak, he's on the first line. That is a slump.
That's a slump.
And especially for the guy who led the team in points for the first 9 games. I'm looking forward to seeing how he responds.
Me too. And I do have to give Torts some credit for not going full Torts. Like, he didn't bench him for very long.
Got him back.
He gave him enough of a benching where it was like, listen, you got to get it together, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to get it together. It wasn't the Morgan Frost treatment. He gave him a little sit down. He got him right back in, and he started to look better towards the end of the game.
I say all the time, Torts is insane, but he's not stupid, and didn't take Mish off the power play because he missed one shift. And it was like, let's see how this goes. And then the Flyers immediately went on the power play. It was like, well, he's out there for that. But then didn't get a shift until I think less than 6 minutes left in the period when he got back out there after that. And he got 2-3 shifts and then normal ice time. It was just like, hey, man, we got to. I really appreciated Scott Hartnell at intermission. I've had those conversations with Torts.
What's his deal? He's obsessed with Michkov.
He was just like, listen,
in a bad way.
In this situation, because Hartnell, when he was a player for Torts in Columbus, it wasn't the smoothest.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I've had those conversations where he just comes up, pats you on the back and goes, giving you one more shift, but that'll be it for the period. And like, you get it together or you're sitting. And that's just kind of who Tortorella is. And that's why he's here. He's here to get the absolute best out of everyone and kind of make men out of them. And I'm totally fine with it because this wasn't petty. It was normal. And now we're going to see Michkov again. He's back on the top line. Yes. It's not a hanging offense. Cool. And let's see how he responds.
Yeah, I'm hoping that he builds off whatever little bit of momentum he was finding within himself at the end of last game and comes out swinging proviorly.
I still don't see who the backup is yet today, but I guess we'll get that.
I think Tortorella said that they're riding with Kolosov. I think I remember him saying that.
Okay.
I think it's going to be him.
He did have a quote like, it's Kolosov right now, or something like that. Yeah. It was just Game Center on NHL. Why would they know who the backup is? They're only the league.
Why would any of us know this ahead of time?
They just had Fedotov and Erson's numbers and not, because they're carrying 3. So I guess they couldn't just list 3. But I haven't seen the scratches
Ryan
yet.
Quigley from BroadStreetHockey.com says that Kolosov is out there for warm-ups.
Kolosov's out there for warm-ups. So that's what made sense to me. Yes. But I saw Fedotov in Game Center. I was like, all right.
Why would they know?
Well, yeah. Why would the NHL know who's playing in the NHL?
Like, call and ask.
Yeah. So. Like, you only have to list your scratches at a certain point. Anyway, before we go any further with today's show, I got to tell you about our watch party coming up Saturday, November 9th at Screwballs in King of Prussia. Go to allphly.com right now. Get your $10 ticket to make sure you get entered into our raffle. And it comes with 2 complimentary Coors Lights for the Panthers-Flyers game. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have live pre- and post-game. We're going to hang out, drink some ice-cold Coors Lights. The raffle items, if you've been to our parties before, like the draft party,
they are good.
Vince and company here at All PHLY don't screw around with the giveaways. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So you're going to want to get in on this raffle. Go to allphly.com. Check out that events tab and just bookmark it because we always have some really fun stuff going on. Watch parties, the suite takeover, all sorts of stuff coming up over the next few months. So check it out right now. All right, the goalie matchup today. Again, we are just kind of guessing because
it's got to be Korpisalo, right?
It really does. Like, Swayman just gave up 6 on like 14 shots the other night. It was really 6 goals on 22 shots.
Oh, no.
He allowed.
That's not good.
That's a nice investment they made there. He didn't have like a preseason or anything. He didn't have a training camp. It's probably just going to take a while for him.
Yes.
But we do know that it is Sam Ersson starting for the Flyers. Yeah. And I'm really excited for Ersson right now to get on a little run.
Yeah.
And kind of, this is what this season's about. He is one of the guys that we are just gathering the information on. I think he has proven a baseline of he's an NHL goalie. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, all right, are you a backup? Are you a tandem guy? Can you be a true number 1? What is Sam Ersson's ceiling? I like him getting back out there today.
Me too. And I also wonder if he does, have a little bit of a hot streak here, how long do they ride it, given that we know, he's got a limit. Like, it's not as low as the Brian Elliott limit, but he's definitely got a limit before I think you start to hit diminishing returns. So I wonder, like, will they wait for a back-to-back to go with the backup, whoever that's going to be? I'm guessing Kolosov. Like, or will they, maybe give him 3-4 games and then decide to give him a seat? I don't know. But I am excited because he does seem to be hitting a bit of a groove. And I feel like that's how goalies work.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And it is funny to see the schedule. In the first 9 games, they played 3 back-to-backs in that time.
Yeah, that was
and now that they are carrying 3 goalies, they don't have a back-to-back until the 2 last days of the month, 29th and 30th. They have the Black Friday game home against the Rangers, then they go to St. Louis on the 30th. They're with 3 goalies especially, you're going to have to find spots to get the other guys in.
I wonder, like, do we see Fedotov again? Like, if Kolosov keeps being, like, the standard backup, and when he does get in, he's fine. Like, do we ever see Ivan Fedotov again? I don't know.
I think I saw John Bailey tweet the other day that now that they're carrying 3 and he hasn't played in a certain amount of time, he might be eligible for a conditioning stint. And it might not be the worst idea to try to get him in the AHL.
But also, like, does it even matter? No one's going to claim him.
No, that's my thing.
Like,
is
whoop, put him down there.
It's not a concern because you have the open roster spot right now.
Yeah.
And you're not dealing with any other injuries. Like maybe if someone else gets hurt and you have to replace them, then it's a thing. Or you could just play Nick Delorier every night, I guess. But that leaves you a little thin. You don't have an extra forward. I think it's not a problem until Cam York comes back because you can just carry 3. But that's also, there's only 2 nets in practice. You know, like one guy you can't dress all 3 for the game. You got to keep everyone going. But I just wonder how much they invested some money in Fedotov. They invested the time to get him over here. I guess they're not going to just give up on him, right?
Do you think that it was related to Michkov? Like, I know everyone wants to pretend that, like, Danny Briere didn't know Michkov was coming until he, like, was on the airplane. But, like, I'm almost certain that there was definitely stuff going on behind the scenes in back channels for quite a while before it was confirmed that Michkov was coming over. So, like, I kind of wonder, like, why would you give this guy almost $4 million?
I mean, you weren't going to get him to stay because of what he was making in Russia. It's like, he wants to play in the NHL. Also, I'm making like $3 million over there. I'm not going to play for league minimum. That's a huge lifestyle change.
Yeah.
But it's freaking Russia, situation, man. Like, I don't know. You know,
I don't know either.
Yeah, the guy tried to come over once before and they had him arrested. Like, I have no freaking idea what the hell goes on in Russia. I'm not going to pretend to try to know what goes on in Russia. I'm sure there is something weird that happened.
Something happened.
But
also, like, if he's ever going to have the opportunity to not suck, he's got to play games somewhere.
That's the thing, is he has to.
Like, just put him in Allentown.
You can't just not play him and then go, okay, and Cam York's back. We're going to send Kolasov back, and we have zero confidence in a backup who hasn't played in a month.
Right, exactly.
Like, I just don't. No. I don't see that as a likely scenario.
It can't be that.
But right now, it's going to be the Sam Ersson show for a little bit. It'll be interesting to see with no back-to-backs how they get someone else in a game, whether it is Kolasov, who they seem just more interested in playing. For good reason. He looks normal in the net.
Normal is the way to put it.
He doesn't look
not insane.
Like a freaking mess.
Yeah.
But I just wonder where their mindset is with him. Like, all right, we gave this a shot and it was ridiculous. We're good. Or it's like, no, we played him a couple of times. We have to give him more than that. We just paid him $3 million.
Yeah, something tells me they don't care about the money, especially because it's only 2 years.
Comcast
it doesn't matter.
Money. Who cares?
I just don't just put him in the AHL. Like, that's the thing that makes the most sense to me because he's got to play. If he's gonna not suck, the only way it's gonna happen is for him to play a whole bunch and figure out how to not suck. And so why not just let him do that in Allentown? Because honestly, like, love the Phantoms, but who cares? Like, who cares if they win or lose? Doesn't really matter. No. So,
it hasn't for a long time.
If he's down there letting in 6 a game, all right, whatever. If he's figuring it out, that's worth more than them winning games.
All right, before we get to the super chats, just quick on the Bruins. Their season is not going well. Now, again, it's November 2nd. And
that's a shame.
On 32 Thoughts, there was talk. I was listening on my way in today, and I had a lot of extra time in the car. If you drove 76 this morning, you know why. But the Bruins are 4-6-1, and in their last 6, they're 1-4-1. A couple of nights ago, they beat the Leafs 4-3 in overtime, because why wouldn't they beat the Leafs even when they're struggling? To snap a 3-game losing streak. Then the Flyers shut them out. The team that was just bleeding chances of goals shuts them out, plays one of their most complete games of the season so far. And then that Carolina game on Thursday, the Boston Bruins played. If you haven't seen the box score or anything from this, 8-2 might not even really sum it up. At one point, Carolina had 6 goals, and Boston had 6 shots.
That's delightful.
Swayman gave up 6 goals on 22 shots before Korpisalo came in relief and gave up 2 more. The Canes outshot the Bruins 37-15.
The absolute Canes.
But like I said, like on 32 Thoughts, the idea is like, listen, we've started awesome the last couple of years and hasn't exactly worked out for the Bruins. So
Fair.
maybe it's not like a ton of panic, but also it's not like things are going well. Like,
No.
It's like, oh, we're just not getting the bounces right now. It'll come around. Swayman just needs to work. It's like, no, you just lost 8-2.
Yeah, not good. We were talking before the show. I read someone tweeting that it's, possible that Jim Montgomery is the first coach fired this season.
Which would be
wild.
That would be absolutely freaking insane in my mind.
And I would need Dan Hilferty to get on the phone instantly.
Yeah, we are both big Jim Montgomery fans.
We like him. He was our guy.
It would be fun, but it's
not gonna happen.
It's just not gonna line up again.
I know.
It's just not gonna line up again.
The timing never lines up.
Yeah. All right. Let's hit those super chats. All right, just the one. Oh, it's Neil Dexter dropping in. Neil Stradamus. Don't crucify me. I feel a donut today.
Neil, why would you do this?
Not saying what team. Please prove me wrong, Fly Guys. Relieve me of this burden. Neil, I didn't give bets today because I am just getting my ass kicked so bad. You're out here just it's not even like he's like, oh, I think TK is going to score. Like,
no.
He called Garnett Hathaway. And he called multiple goals for Coots on a 32-game goal drought. Like, I need some bets here, Neil. Come on, man.
Neil.
What do you just expect me not to bet? Come on.
If this happens, Neil is a certified witch and also hired.
Yeah.
He can take my place. I'm fine.
Kelly, no. Stop trying to give up this job. All right. We have another
Neil.
one here from Neil. Thank you. Another $5 because you guys are awesome. Bill's hair is majestic. I had to run in today and I forgot my hat in the car. I feel naked without it. It's the whole thing is just really weird. But that's it is interesting to think, like, are we catching Boston at the right time? I was like, well, they're the Bruins. They're gonna get it together.
Eventually you would think that, David Pasternak is going to remember how to score goals. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't.
Hey, they've shut him out. The Flyers have shut him out 3 games in a row now, no goals. For the dude who scored, he had 5,000
goals.
I think at one point, 26 goals in 31 games against the Flyers. Some weird Gretzky number where it's like, no, guys you don't score at that rate.
Yeah.
That's a good points rate.
That said, that run of 3 games that Brenna just put up there on the screen, logically, this is the game that Boston's like, no, we're not doing this anymore. We're gonna win. That is running that. This game is the perfect, Bruins 8, Flyers 2.
There's losing, and then there's getting beat 8-2 and getting outshot 37-15.
Right. You are mad.
It's almost difficult to only put up 15 shots in 60 minutes.
Ask the Flyers.
That seems harder than putting up 30. You never had the puck. 15 shots means you what was the score in this game?
The Canes.
You still the Canes couldn't have been trying all 60 minutes. At a certain point you're up 6-0 and you're like, all right, I'm good, man.
They don't know how to not have the puck. Yeah. That's what they do.
Just real quick before we wrap up the show, have you I didn't have time to get the graphic or anything, but if anyone has any extra time, maybe at intermission today, check out Natural Stat Trick or one of the advanced metric websites that tracks the nerd sites that tracks defensive pairs. Sean Walker and Shane Gostisbehere is the best pair in hockey, and it's just very funny.
It's
just
funny.
Very funny. Listen, there was no one more adamant that they needed to trade Sean Walker than me, and while
they had to.
While I agree that the Shane Gostisbehere trade was a joke, you traded him for legitimately nothing.
Negative things.
Yeah, you actually surrendered assets to give him away. It was just not working here for whatever reason. But
because of the coach.
All of a sudden, he leads defensemen in scoring. And
it turns out he's actually really good at doing the things he's good at. All you have to do is let him do those things.
Yeah.
And not try to turn him into a defensive defenseman for some reason.
But their metrics are great.
I'm still bitter
about it. The scoring is awesome. It's It's just
for
funny,
them,
honestly.
honestly.
Yeah, good for them. Like I like both of those guys a lot, especially Shane Gostisbehere. Like he should have been a Flyer for life, and it just
Dr. T sitting in Raleigh looking at the Flyers like, you idiots.
Like,
Guess what I'm going to do?
Yeah. All right. Anyway, that is all the time we have for you on PHLY Flyers Pregame presented by Coors Light. Visit CoorsLight.com/PHLY Hockey to get Coors Light delivered or find a store near you. My name is Bill Matz. That's Kelly Hinkle. We will be back after the game, right as soon as it goes final with postgame. Charlie will join us from the Wells Fargo Center with his report. So tune in for that. Until then, let's go Flyers.
We all silly like the mayor.